Kate. I missed you. I hope you're doing well. Let's get started. Also, feel free to do these as many times as you would like. So we'll start like we always do. Sitting either on your shins or in crisscross. Placing your hands on your ribs, forefingers in front, the thumbs behind, just to check, just to test and see where our breath is. Chances are, I don't know about you, but I certainly know that lately I have been here, right? And all these accessory muscles that we just don't need to use to breathe. We need to use our diaphragm in order to turn off those adrenal responses. Taking nice deep breaths. Are you expanding 360 degrees in the front and the sides and also in the back, which is super hard to find? You can keep your hands there or release them, checking in with the alignment of your spine, with your head almost back a little further than you would like, giving yourself that nice, sexy double chin. Your shoulders dropping down, and your ribs stacked right over your hips. So all these points, your hips, your shoulders, and your ears are all in the same plane linearly. And your ribs, sorry. Hips, ribs, shoulders, ears. See if you can increase the length in your spine with each breath. Sending space between your vertebrae on that inhale, and then exhale, growing even taller. And now we'll think about our transverse abdominis wrapping around our body like a superhero belt is my latest and greatest imagination moment as we buckle up and then the belt scoops us in and up with that ice cream scoop. So activating the core. Inhale, releasing stomach, filling up the diaphragm. Exhale, pulling the lower abs in and up. And now we'll add that pelvic floor. So inhale, lowering your piece of silk, spreading it on the ground. And then exhale, drawing in and up like a jellyfish. And lowering all the way back down on that inhale, full range of motion. Gorgeous. We'll come to all fours. And we will maintain our vertical alignment in this horizontal now. So we will continue to think about keeping our ears in line with our shoulders. So if you look, I'm not here and I'm not here. I'm actually creating as much length in my spine as possible through my cervical vertebrae. So I'm looking directly between my fingertips. And then speaking of our hands, check in with those hands on the floor, imagining that there's bubble wrap beneath them, so you're pushing the floor away and really imprinting your whole hand into the bubble wrap. Another fun image is like the Hollywood walk or whatever with all the handprints of the stars. You're putting your star handprint into your block of cement and you want to get your whole hand. You want it to be a really nice, clear handprint because, I mean, you're famous and it's a big deal. And then what about your sits bones? Making sure that your sits bones aren't tucking under and that you're also not collapsing into your hips or your ribs. So you stay lifted, but allow your sits bones to have like little LED lights and you're trying to shine the flashlights directly back behind you. And then check in here, taking that deep breath, diaphragmatic breath, 360 degrees. So you might feel your back expand toward the wall a little bit on that inhale, and then exhale, pulling the lower belly in and up. Incorporate the pelvic floor here, just in this neutral. And now go ahead and rock back and forward, finding that place where your lower stomach has to kick in order for you to keep your spine and your body in the same relationship to itself as you have set up. I usually have to exhale when I find the place that happens right before I shift, right? And then settle back in the center. And take a nice big inhale in this neutral. And then exhale, bring your tail and your forehead closer together. Inhale, stay here to make more space. Exhale, go a little deeper. Inhale, exhale, support your spine as you come back to the center. So even though we're not in such an active curve, we're still holding our core nice and tight. Another thought we can, another image we have is we have the idea of having suspenders between the lowest ribs and the tips of your hips, so that you're not necessarily letting anything go here, that there's still an energetic connection, an elasticity between those 2 points that supports your spine, right, in this position, so we don't get into the pressure of gravity. Take another inhale here, exhale, drawing the pelvic floor in and up with the transverse abdominis and the head and the tail closer together, articulating all of your vertebrae into the ground. So my hand slipped out from underneath me, and that's a good indication that there was a lot of pressure. I'm actually going to use this as a teaching moment. So I'm pushing the floor away so much that can happen, right? We want to keep our weight into our hands more though than I just did, and that's why my hand slipped out from underneath me. So I'm thinking about pushing the floor away with my arms and with my knees and my feet, which then causes my posterior chain to activate a little bit, which is another fun little benefit. You might as well kill 2 or 3 birds with one stone and come back and feel that space that you probably made in your thoracic spine, maybe even your lumbar spine. That's what we're going for here. And just kind of give your spine a nice like snake situation here. Yes. I'm drawing circles with my head and my tail in coordination with one another, and arching, getting a nice stretch in your chin and your chest without collapsing, right? So I'm really thinking about those feather earrings, my scapula sliding down the backs of my ribs. And one more time, exhale. Stay here, one more inhale. Exhale, deeper, and inhale back to center. Yay! All right, now we will take our quadruped digs. So we're in quadruped, and we'll put all of our weight into one arm as we lift the other arm up towards the sky, rotating in this shoulder girdle, keeping our shoulders down, and then we dig down as we keep the core nice and tight. So there's really like a wringing out, like you're wringing out a dish rag sensation happening here. That was 3. This is 4. Pushing the floor away with that base arm, keeping the pelvis nice and neutral. 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and then 10, we'll thread the arm through. So I'll show you on both sides. I get my shoulder on the ground, and then I traction my shoulder as I place my ear on the ground, right? And then if you want the more advanced version, you can lift that other arm up, or you keep it pressing into the ground to keep a little bit of support, so you're not putting so much weight into your neck. And then lifting that arm back up. And we'll take it to the other side. I'm gonna switch sides so that I can look at you when I do this. And we go up, rotating around the shoulder girdle. 2. Keeping the head as neutral as possible. 3. Remembering your rubber bands between your hip bones and your bottom ribs. And remembering to breathe. If you feel it in your waist at all, or even like the back part of your waist, then that's awesome. Good. more. And last time. Thread the arm through. I place my shoulder on the ground. I traction it forward, and then I put my head on the ground. I'm gonna flip around so you can see what this looks like on the other side. This time, shoulder on the floor, traction forward, head on the ground. Right, and I'm pressing into this hand, or I lift up for like an advanced situation, but you don't have to. You're just trying to find the most amount of space between your shoulder and your ear, using the floor to pull the 2 points away from each other and find that nice stretch in your sternocleidomastoid and all those other accessory muscles that tend to like try to help out. They think they're helping us out to breathe when they're really like, they're like the overeager helper, like clingy friends, and we don't need these guys because we have this, right? All right, now we get to take our serratus push-ups. So, same setup in our quadruped, shoulders over hands and wrists, hips over knees, and then find this, jolt that we have with our scapula. So my head stays perfectly in line with my spine, and then there's this little, like, I'm pushing the floor away with my hand, so then my shoulders do this thing that causes them to spread apart. This is where we want to go to, that place at the end of each of these scapular retractions. So when we open our scapula far apart. And then we lower them, we lower our chest by rotating our scapula around our body, squeezing them together in the back. So it's almost as if, I don't have one right now, but as if I had a pencil right here between my 2 scapula, and I'm thinking about trying to squeeze my scapula back in together to squeeze the pencil. So I guess like in a racer back shirt like I'm wearing, I'm trying to squeeze my scapula together beneath my racer back shirt and then opening them back up. Squeezing and opening. Yeah? Let's take 10. Here we go, just with our knees on the ground today because we haven't seen each other in a little while. All right, so lowering. 1, 2. All the way up, full range of motion. If you have any questions about anything that we do in these videos, because I'm making them specifically for you, like just text me or call me or anytime. I'm always available to talk, answer questions, and help you through it when you do decide to do these videos. 6, 7. Remembering to breathe, remembering to keep those shoulders back. 8, 9, 10. Awesome. That was great. Now we'll come to our back. And we'll do our, gotta take a clip out. Sorry, clip. We'll do our heel toe. So we know our feet are even and directly hips width apart beneath our sits bones. Drawing the shoulder blades down the spine, and then just take those pelvic rocks that we like to do. Using the musculature of the lower abdominals, right? On that exhale, inhale, tipping the pelvis forward and spilling our bowl of cereal between our legs. Exhale, tipping our pelvis forward, tucking our tail between our legs and tipping our bowl of cereal toward our chest. Take a couple of these. So you're making space for like a clementine, and then you're squishing your clementine between your back and the floor, right? Space for the clementine. And then squish your clementine. And then start to let the rock become a little smaller and smaller. And settle somewhere where maybe there's space for like a blueberry, I hope, between your lower spine and the floor. So there's a little pocket of air. Not a pocket this big, but like a pocket this big, like the size of my fingernail maybe, if it were fingernail standing straight up. And then lift one leg up off the ground, keeping your knee stacked over your hip and the other leg, and bring them together and press those legs together, and then check in with your blueberry. Did you squish your blueberry? Or did your blueberry become a cherry tomato? I hope it's not a clementine. You keep your blueberry, so don't squish your blueberry, just keep it there. And squeeze your legs together, squeeze your knees together and your ankles together so that you feel that energetic connection between your legs like magnets. And then bring your arms together so that they're mirroring them. So your shoulders are together and your hands are together, and you're trying to get your shoulder blades down your back as much as possible, but that's more difficult when you're bringing your arms together like this. Now squeeze your arms together and your legs together at the same time, so you really feel this midline of your body happening. The midline that goes through like your linea alba. And now inhale and exhale. Bring your hands and your toes toward the ground. They don't necessarily have to touch because we want to keep our blueberry nice and still. We don't want to squish our blueberry or turn it into a clementine. So we only bring our hands and our legs toward the ground as much as we can support without changing in the torso. Yeah, definitely not splaying our ribs. Keep your energetic connection. Exhale, legs go down. Inhale, exhale, bring them back up. We'll take a couple more of these. Exhale. Inhale, exhale. I'm sure you're doing great. Last one. Great. And now take a rest real quickly. Bring your legs into your chest. Circle your lower spine on the floor. Good. And then legs come right back up, one at a time, to where they were. Arms come back up. Where's your lower spine? Where's your blueberry? And now we're gonna press in, feeling that magnetic connection, and then open. So then your magnets flip, and then they're suddenly being repelled. And then your magnets flip, and you draw everything back together into that midline. And open. We're trying to open our arms and our legs kind of at the same rate as if it's all one line. It's definitely easier said than done. And if this is your range of motion, that's cool. If this is your range of motion, that's cool. We're only going to where our range of motion is right now. 3 more. Last one. And relax. Bring those legs in. Flex, point your feet. Give your lower back a little massage on the ground. Awesome. Now we're going to go into a bridge series. So bring those feet back down onto the ground flat, heel toe, checking in. And then we're going to come back to that space where we have our blueberry beneath us. So if you need to rock your pelvis, not using your feet, using your abs, right? Just to get you there to where you feel your blueberry on the ground. Good. Then on the exhale, we're going to draw the spine, or the belly into the spine as we squish our blueberry. So you're actually going to squish your blueberry using your abs. Once your blueberry is squished, you're going to push the floor with your heels and roll through your spine, one vertebrae at a time, as your tail comes between your legs so that you're really kind of tucked in your pelvis, and we're keeping the lower back long, and then of course the angle between our hips and our femurs long. So it's a straight line or an obtuse angle, a very obtuse angle. And come up, drop your ribs, check in with where you're breathing. And in this position, just check, are my knees falling out to the side or collapsing in on one another? Try to avoid that as much as possible. One way to think about it is imagining that there's a ball that's specifically your hips width, right? And like more narrow, slightly more narrow than your hips between your legs, so that you're squeezing that ball. So then you get a slight tension that keeps your knees stacked directly over your heels as there's a slight push going on the outside of your thighs, right? Someone's there pushing you and you're trying to push back so that you get the
energetic sensation of squeezing your thighs and then pulling them apart so they stay in place over your heels. All right, we've been here for a while now, right? I hope you're still up. It's okay if you have to come down. Especially if you're feeling any tension in your lower back, then lower your hips and tuck your tail more, okay? And now we'll lower back down. So we're gonna take just like 10 easy rolling through the spine bridges. We're really trying to press each vertebrae into the ground as we roll up. And lower back down. You're doing great. Thinking about bringing those knees closer to the wall, right, like we talked about, and pulling your heels toward your sits bones so that you get this action happening. That was 4. Using your abs to lift, keeping the breath in the diaphragm without splaying the ribs. I know it's such a dichotomy, right? You want to be able to find that range of motion in your rib cage, but you don't want to just splay them. You want to find that connection between your hips and your ribs. It still applies here. Those rubber bands or those, shoot, I can't remember what they're called. I'm thinking overalls, suspenders. Overalls, I guess, would technically kind of work too, maybe. If you had like overalls that attached from here to here. 3 more. You've got this. Rolling up through the spine. Last one. Stay here. And then we're going to take pulses. We're just going to do little pulses to the sky. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 2, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 2 more 8s. 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Keep your tail tucked. 2, 3, 4. Last 5, 6, 7, 8. And roll all the way down. Oh yes, I felt that. It was lovely. I hope you enjoyed some good quality bridging as much as I did. It's so good for us. It really is. People always focus on squats, and squats are fantastic. But if you don't have a solid bridge, then why squat? You're not bridging properly. At least that's one woman's opinion. All right. So let's move on. I would like for us to start doing planks. I know. So we'll come up onto this quadruped position that we like to spend a lot of time in, right? And we'll find our form, activating the scapula before we even pick our knees up off the ground for our plank. Checking in with our spine, with our cervical vertebrae, making sure those are nice and long. Checking in with the energetic connection between our ribs and our hips. And then we'll lift we'll slide one leg out and then the other leg out, okay? Just do this a couple times. Just like preparing. You're just like imagining what it feels like to be in that position by dipping our toe in the water. And then when we come up into our plank, we're going to keep our hips directly in line with our rib cage, right? Just like this. So when I bring one leg out, my hips aren't moving, are they? They're staying in line, directly in line. It's my femur is rotating, but my hips are staying perfectly in line with my ribs, okay? And then I'm going to back up a little bit so you can see hopefully my whole body when I go into this little plank. And we'll just stay here for a couple seconds. We won't be long. And make sure you bring your lower belly in and up to support your spine, and we don't arch our spine or drop our hips, and we also don't pick our hips up. All right? Here we go. Step one leg out, step the other leg out. Add a little tension into those glutes with a slight tuck,
not the same amount of tuck that we have when we're in our bridge, but also not the same arch that we have when we're just like in neutral. I know it's hard. Stay here for as long as you can. You can feel like you're pressing the floor away with your hands. We'll count to 10. Here we go. 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5. I'm counting slow, I know. 4, 3, 2, 1. Let those knees come back down. And go ahead and take a child's pose. You've earned it. You're working hard. Let your head fall, your forehead fall down onto the mat, and rock your head from side to side. Glorious. Okay. That was super great. Good job. Now we will start our series, okay? So we're starting out, you know this one, regular squats. So legs apart, squatting down and up. Whoa. So see, I fell backwards because I had so much weight in my heels, which is what we want. I would much rather you fall backwards than forwards, squatting down and up. We want to think about tracking our knees directly over our toes in these squats. And we also want to think about hinging in our hips. So I'm going to show you from the side. So the first thing that happens is it's like someone comes and breaks at our hips, so our hips go back, which causes us to put our weight in our heels. My toes might even come up off the floor. That's okay. And I keep my body in line with my shins, okay? So I don't tip my torso forward any more than my shins go forward. And I don't want my knees over my toes like this. So you want your knees almost over your heels. You want to think about pulling your knees back as far as possible. So let me show you that. See how my torso, this is a parallel line with this. If I wanted to go down lower, right, I keep my body in the same line. And up. And when I stand up, I'm really squeezing my glutes. This breath work would coordinate with an inhale as we descend and an exhale in the ascent. Inhale, right, exhale. And I'm squeezing my butt cheeks together. It's kind of a funny feeling. You feel like you're making a nice big butt, and so you have to squeeze it together, which makes no sense, but that's how it goes. And then you have your personal favorite, right? These ones, these cross body, hands to knees. We'll do about like 20 to 30 seconds each side. We have burpees. Oh my gosh. Our arms will go up. We will come down to a squat. We will walk our legs, jump our legs out to a plank. Not this kind of plank and not this kind of plank, right? The plank we just practiced. We will jump our legs back in and we will stand up, no jump. So we just stand. We'll do 10, just like this. Out. Up. When I come up, watch this. I'm not going up like that, right? I'm pressing my heels into the ground as soon as possible. So I'm almost in a narrow squat or chair pose in yoga to stand. That's a kind of one of those sneaky ways for me to just make you do more squats. And then we have lunges with a high knee. So the back leg goes back, down and up, down and up. Again, when we do this, we keep our knee tracking over no further than our toes. So this is not it, this, and then up. And we load the leg to stand. So I'm already really weight in my heels as I bring this leg up and push the floor away with the front leg, okay? We'll do 15 and then 15. Oh, this one's good. So you've done this one. It's old. We haven't done it in a while. It's the get out of bed push-up. So we start just like this. You can have the bottom hand in like an L shape on our side, top hand on the ground, pressing into the top hand, pushing to get ourselves up. We will do 10 of these. You could even have like this arm underneath your head. Just don't use it to get up. Or it can be crossed over your body like this, so you're grabbing your ribs. I think this is the one I prefer for my own body, but it's whatever works for you. We'll do 10 of these, and then we will switch and go to the other side. 10. Big important cue, not this, right? No neck. We want necks. So I'm making special care to draw my shoulder down my back so that then I don't hide my neck from you in the video. And that, so I'm also showing you like important form. Okay. And then finally, we will rotate over onto our stomach and we'll do back ups. So we want to keep our legs as tight as we can, as tight as possible, like that, pressing our legs and arms into each other for the midline of our body. This is a great opportunity for us to play with that idea, that sensation of the midline. And then we're going to do a slight tuck of the pelvis so that you're pressing your pubic bone into the ground. And you're going to imagine like you have a Cheerio under your belly button, and you don't want to like crush your Cheerio because Cheerio dust sounds like a pain to clean. And we will just have our hands over our forehead, and we will lengthen our spine to lift and lower. Lift and lower. Just 10 of those. We'll take it easy for today. All right, let's do it. Here we go. Let's do 20 squats. I believe in you. Down, up, down, up. 3, 4, squeeze the glutes. Inhale, exhale. 6, 7, 8. I wish I had music. 10. If you'd like to play music in the background for this, then go for it. You can like pause the video and rewind and then play music. Or not. Whew, it's up to you. 12. This is 13. This is 14. This is 15. This is 16. This is 17. 2 more. 19 and 20. Lovely. Okay, straight into these knees. Keep the pace nice and consistent, stabilizing on that base leg, using your core to bring your hand and your knee together. I haven't done this one in a while either. It's good stuff. So there's a bounce. Do you see my knee kind of bounces? Allow yourself some give to bounce and go along with it. It also works those glutes. And switch. And we just get to do the other side. How about your breathing? This is a good chance to like check in, right? Do I have an expansion in my diaphragm? Or are my accessory muscles in my neck taking over? Are my shoulders lifting? Can I slide them down my back more? Awesome. And now we have our burpees. Down, we jump back, in and up. Down, back, in and up. That's 2. Down, back, in and up. That's 3. Down, back, in and up. That's 4. 5 more, you can do it. 5, 4, 3, 2. Last one. Whew, straight into our lunges with the knee. 1, 2, 3, 4. Whoops. Don't lose your balance like I am. 5. It's because I'm looking at the mirror across my body, or the screen. 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, last one. 15, other side. We go down. 2, 3. Loading that heel. You're doing great. I'm so proud of you. Sticking with it. Do as much as you can with proper form. 8, 9, 10, 11. Use your core when your leg comes up. 12, 13, 14, 15. On our side, here we go. 10, 1, 2, 3. Exhale on the effort. 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Other side. Get there fast. Here we go. 1, 2, whoa. 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. And back up. So let's do it. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Yay! Child's pose. Take a moment here. Stretch out that back. All right, that was so good. Yay. One more thing. If you're up for it, let's use those kettlebells, or that kettlebell that you hopefully have gotten in the mail. Hopefully it's of a decent poundage. Adjust like the repetitions depending on, like, if it's a heavier weight, you do less reps, and if it's a lower weight, do more. Also, like, let me know how many pounds it is so I can plan when it comes in or whatever. I don't have a kettlebell, so I'm going to use my backpack, which is probably not nearly as heavy as your kettlebell is, but it's something. I'm going to take my kettlebell backpack in one arm. I'm just standing hips width apart. I'm going to dip my kettlebell toward the ground and then come back up. All right, here we go. Let's do 10, 15. That's 2. 3, super easy. More difficult the heavier it is. This is working your obliques, really. Super simple. We're just moving in one plane, nothing fancy. The greater the range of motion, the more difficult this is. I would urge you to try and dip as much as you can without displacing your pelvis or splaying in your ribs, right? So we're really keeping our form the same. We're just having this lateral bend here, right? 5 more, if you got this. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Awesome. Switch it to the other side. Here we go. 1. This is really great to prepare us for those times when we do the side plank, right? It's the same muscle groups, really. Now we're in our different relationship to gravity because we're lowering with weight and then we're lifting with weight rather than our body weight, right? And sometimes this can be beneficial because, I mean, our body weight isn't necessarily something that's so prescribed, right? As like a 9-pound kettlebell, right? Like, I don't know how heavy my hips are in relation to the angle at which I'm standing on my elbow to do a side plank. So this is a prescribed way of building up the strength to perform other activities. 5 more. 5, 4, all the way down and all the way back up. 3, 2, last one. 1. Hey! All right, let me know how that felt. I want to make a note about like the new things that we do, like plank. I think we briefly visited plank the last time we saw each other, and I made a mental note, like I want to make sure that you feel solid in your plank. And in order to do that, like I would probably want to see you. So if you're up for it, just like take a picture of yourself or like a 5-second clip of yourself in plank, like your best plank. Like, you know, the convenience of this is you can like do it really good for 5 seconds and send that to me so that I know that you know how to do it, right? To minimize, like, really to make sure you're getting the most out of this, and to also minimize the potential for like injury, right? We're not doing anything that could particularly like harm you because everything's relatively low impact, what we do. But since I'm not there with you physically or virtually, it would make me feel better. You don't have to, but it would just definitely make me feel like I'm giving you all of the best services that I can in this interesting time. All right, let's stretch, yeah? So let's just start in a nice lunge position. So just like I always say, we don't want our heel or our knee to surpass our heel or our toes, right? So this, not so much. This, yes. And I'm on my knee. You can also tuck your toes or have them untucked. I'm thinking about bringing my hips toward each other. So the back hip is coming forward. And I'm also thinking about tucking my tail and leaning forward into my hip flexor and my quadricep. And we'll hang out here for a little while. Yeah. Hope you're doing well. I'm hoping to come home soon, so maybe we'll be able to take like socially distanced walks or something like that. I really miss New York. Florida is beautiful, but it's time I come home. Switch to the other side, checking in, hips coming forward, pelvis tucking under, and lowering down. You can also have a little activation of that back glute. The front glute will probably naturally activate so that you feel stable here. But the back one, if you're activating this is more likely to stretch. It's called reciprocal inhibition? No, that's with the Golgi tendon organ. I'll look it up. It's something super simple and I'm just blanking. But the idea is that if you're contracting one muscle, then you're allowing the opposing muscle, the antagonist group, to stretch. So if I contracted my bicep, I would be more likely to be able to allow the tricep to relax. All right, and then we will do a little pec stretch. I'm going to readjust my camera for you. There's this fun like tree thing in the middle of this space. It's quite funny. You have your arm on the wall or whatever you're using, 45-degree angle, shoulder down the back. Ooh, my collarbone popped, it was great. And then rotate away. So you're kind of stretching a lot of different muscles. For some reason today I feel this in my triceps, and that doesn't really make a lot of sense, but I guess I needed it there. Who knew? I feel it all the way up to my pinky finger. Just rotate away only as much as you can, and I'm definitely continuing to keep my form. So I know that like I cue these form things all the time, but it's super important to use form, especially, switch to the other side. I'm gonna be talking at you from kind of the corner of this, especially when we're in our daily lives. We want to focus on keeping the form that we talk about, even just something as simple as breathing with our diaphragm and then activating our lower abs and our transverse abdominis, wrapping in and up, around in and up, I suppose, before we move. So say like you're gonna feed the cat, right? I want to think, breathe, exhaling, keeping my form proper. I'm not splaying in my ribs, I'm not curving in my shoulders, and I'm certainly using my core when I do the effort, right? And I'm keeping my weight in my heels, thinking about how I can move efficiently so that you're not just getting like an hour-long workout with me once a week. You're getting an hour-long workout with me once a week, and then skills that you can apply throughout your day, every single day, that then will continue to create strength and support for your lifestyle. With that said, thank you so much. You did awesome. If you have any questions or comments or requests, then I would love to hear them. Let me know what's fun, let me know what's not fun, how you're feeling, and I'm always around. Have a great week. Mwah.